Most of the problems we have these days are related to our body. When we were little children, we depended on our parents. We felt that our body was great, obedient, and served as the tool for the mind to seek happiness. When we were young, we didn't really feel that the body was a suffering object, but rather something great. Since the mind is the master of the body, we think that the body is us or ours. We then use it to seek happiness. By watching, listening, smelling, tasting, and experiencing satisfactory senses. When continuously used, the body reacts like other materials in this world. An aging house gets old. A car gets old when it has been driven for a long time. It can even get old just by being left parking. The body is the same as the house and the car. It works well at first, but when it has been used for a long time, it starts to get problematic or worn out. We are used to the feeling that the body is us and ours. That's why we suffer when we and ours become damaged, worn out, sick, or old. We strongly believe that what we have used is us and ours. As a result, we don't want it to change, get old, become sick, and die. Our mind starts to worry and struggle. Like now, we are stressful, worrying that we might get COVID. If asked whether it is the body or the mind that gets COVID, sure the answer is the body, but we feel that the body is us, so it is us who get COVID. That's why we should practice mindfulness, see the body and mind as separated things. As we practice, we'll see that it's the body, not us, that gets old. It's like living in a house for years and it gets old. When the body gets sick, it is like a house has become worn out or ruined by termites. As we gradually practice, we'll see that the body is just like the house. No matter how luxurious it will be worn out one day. When it is badly worn out and we can't live in it, what do? We move to a new house. To move to a new body, we have to be reborn elsewhere. Since this body is a house, and we have lived in it for years, we think it is ours. We own this house. Since the body has been with us since we were born, we feel that this body is ours and this is us. However, the body naturally gets old, sick, and dies. Let us gradually practice to see the truth that the body is neither us nor ours. A mundane person can do this too. The Lord Buddha said that a mundane person who has never heard of the Dhamma can see that the body is not us. Therefore, it is not difficult for us to see that the body is not us, even if we are mundane people. How can we see that the body is not us? We need to separate the aggregates, parting the body and the mind. The mind lives in the body. The mind is the owner of the house. The body is the house. If you look after the house, you'll have a well-maintained one. If you don't and keep using it regularly, you'll end up having a quickly worn-out house, for example. This body is the same. Some people just use it without care. They go to bed late, play around until late at night, and wake up late. When they had to wake up early to go to work, they have to force and torture the body so that it goes to work. As they take a bus, a SkyTrain, or drive, the body is exhausted. When the work is done, instead of letting the body rest, the mind still wants to indulge more. Consequently, they go to a pub or bar, continuing using the body to have fun until late, like 1 to 2 a.m. or so. When the body is overused, it gets worn out. It is like we have a car and we drive it all day and night, never letting the machine rest, so it is worn out quickly. When it is broken, we complain and try to fix it. We try to see a doctor, go for a plastic surgery, or beautify ourselves or so. It is similar to fixing a house. Some fix it properly, some fix it improperly. If a house or a car is poorly worn out, simply repainting without fixing it is similar to older people opting for a facelift. It is like painting the house to cover up the damage when it is already old or expired. The truth about the body is, when it comes to existence, it will become worn out. Its nature is to get old, sick, and die. If we live with the body and think that it is us, then it becomes us who get old, sick, and die. Try to practice to see that the body is not us or ours. Even a worldly person who has not heard of the Dhamma can do this because they see it from their experience. Those who never practice can see that the body is not really us because they see others get old, sick, and die. They were young and healthy before, but they can't escape getting old, sick, and dying. When seeing this repeatedly, the mind will accept the truth. As the mind accepts the truth, when the body gets old, sick, and dies, feels that this is normal and thus doesn't suffer. That is, if we see the true nature of the body, we won't suffer because of the body. The reason why we suffer because of the body is the fact that we can't accept its true nature. For that reason, the way we can train ourselves to accept the truth is to see for real whether this body is really great and wonderful like we believe. When we were children or young, we could use the body freely. We could run fast and act fast. We were healthy and rarely became sick. But once we turn old, even walking fast is not possible. Even simply walking slowly can be tormenting. First, we see others going through these processes, and then the truth gradually teaches our mind to accept. Before I met Luang Pu Dun, I I liked attending funerals and rather avoided weddings or parties. The latter ones are unreal. People can be happy and marry only temporarily. Soon they fight, divorce, and separate. It looks illusory. Contrarily, funerals let us see the real thing. The Lord Buddha taught that corpses are flowers for the enlightened person. I wasn't there yet, but the mind liked to practice. I liked seeing things at funerals. If someone I knew had died, I would attend their funerals. I performed the funeral bathing ceremony, listened to Buddhist monks praying, and so on. The mind would be roused of the truth when attending such a ceremony. It is a self-warning that sooner or later, we will lie down in a coffin like them. If there is a coffin, everyone has the same end of life. When we see something like this, we won't indulge in or struggle for the pleasures of life. Does this world really offer happiness? It does for those who indulge in it. For those who don't, this world has nothing for them really. We try to seek so many things just to put them down and give up everything in the end. For example, we try to make a fortune, but finally we'll have to leave our money for others to use. Or if we have a house, we will have to abandon it in the end, and others will reside in it. Whatever we have, we can only leave it behind, even the body. When I went to a funeral, the mind would consider it this way. I wouldn't enjoy worldly affairs, but practice regularly so as to be liberated from this. Just like Prince Siddhartha, who saw the old, sick, and dead people. Then he thought of how he could be free from these conditions. People whose faculties are weak and lack merits in Dhamma can see that life is unstable. Growing old, getting sick, and dying will soon come around. Now that they are not yet old, sick, or dead, they think it's time to find happiness as much as possible. They fight for everything and feel delighted by the achievement. However, in the end, they can't escape the truth. In the end, they will have to let go of everything. Things that they have struggled to own so badly are actually not their treasures, but something that turns into emptiness. Everything they fight for indeed belongs to the world, and they will have to return it all. The mind considers this bit by bit. This is real life. Even without practicing mindfulness, by constantly considering the truth of the body, the mind will incline to the Dhamma. Those with strong faculties will think of how they can be free from getting old, getting sick, and dying. On the other hand, those with weak faculties think it's high time they lose themselves in happiness because they will grow old, get sick, and die in the future. Now they are not yet old, sick, or dead, so they should find happiness first. They struggle hard just to find nothing in the end. Days ago, a senior came to talk to me. Saying that we struggle so much in life for emptiness in the end. This is a life experience for those who observe and consider things. He could see this without practicing Dhamma. How can we be liberated from becoming old, getting sick, and dying? Growing old, getting sick, and dying are the results of birth. If there were no birth, no body, then getting old, becoming sick, and dying wouldn't occur. How does the body appear? For humans, the body needs elements from the parents first. Then water, food, and air would together feed it. Then the mind, the birth of mind, appears in the body and takes over it. This is arranged by karma. Some minds had adhered well to Buddhist precepts. Then the new birth would form a beautiful body for them. For example, some people had engaged in killing. Then the deeds would form a poor body for them, such as a disabled body. Karma arranges us different forms of the body. How will we be free from birth, from having a body? If we see suffering and harm from the body, the mind won't take hold or cling to the body as such. It will abandon the body and look for a more delicate body like those of the divine beings and Brahmas. Their bodies are more detailed, graceful, and beautiful than humans' bodies. If you practice Dhamma and have seen them, you'll know that their bodies are so much more magnificent. Our bodies have joints, unevenness, far from beautiful. But the divine beings' bodies are harmonious and beautiful, without any sticking out bones. Anyhow, when we practice Dhamma, we know that these bodies are impermanent. No matter how beautiful we might be, at last we have to let go. Do the divine beings get old? Yes. Do they get sick? Yes. Do they die? Yes. We may do good deeds in hoping for a more graceful body than that of humans. Yet, we won't be free from suffering. No matter how graceful a body is, eventually it can't escape growing old, getting sick, and dying anyway. Bodies of the divine beings, or Brahma, are all the same. Some divine beings' bodies stay young and beautiful all the time. Some divine beings like to be kids. They stay as kids throughout their life, without growing up. Some divine beings like to be seniors. They are proud to present their old bodies and stay as such. These are created by the mind. Humans' bodies are created by karma. So as those of divine beings and Brahmas. The mind creates the body according to what karma it has. Therefore, no matter how many good deeds we do, we won't be liberated from this body. We will wander around either rough or delicate bodies, on and on. When we practice, we start by separating out aggregates. The mind needs to have concentration to do this. If the mind doesn't have concentration, it can't separate out aggregates. As for myself, I have practiced meditation since I was a child, when I was 7 years old. I did it every day, breathing in Put, breathing out To. At the time, I also counted along, breathing in Put, breathing out To, counting 1. Breathing in Put, breathing out To, counting 2. I did this every day whenever I had time. There was willingness, liking, and happiness in doing so. As I continued practicing, a stable mind arose. It perceived that the body and the mind were separated. One time, I was practicing continuously until the mind went into deep concentration. It saw that joyful formations and all kinds of happiness are objects being observed. The mind is the watcher. I kept practicing until I felt no existence of the body but the mind. When the mind withdrew from concentration and the body came back to senses, I believed without doubt that the body and the mind are separated objects. That is because when I was practicing, the body disappeared, but the mind existed. And when the body reappeared, I knew exactly that the mind lived in the body. The body is not the mind. If you have enough meditation experience, you'll see what I said. If you don't have enough concentration, then you can observe instead. Try observing the body and see if you can control it all the time. If you can, then do it. Don't be hungry. Don't be thirsty. Don't move the bowel. Don't urinate. Don't feel hot. Don't feel cold. Don't be tired. Be happy all the time. You can reflect this way. Eventually, you'll see that we can't control the body. The body is not us. Or you can practice meditation the same way I just mentioned. There are many methods. Those who practice meditation a lot may go into deep concentration and feel the body disappear. They will feel strongly that the body is not theirs. The body and the mind are separated. Their aggregates are now completely separated. The mind won't combine with the aggregates again. It won't combine with the body any longer. Instead, it will combine with formless segregates, feelings, memory, and mental formations. Never again with the body. It knows for sure that the body is a separated part from the mind. This happens if your practice has entered the state of concentration where the body disappears. But if you never have or don't know how to, then observe instead. Be aware of the body often. See if you can truly control it. Don't be hungry, don't feel cold, don't get hot, don't feel pain, don't get aching, don't become sick, and don't turn old. It will never work. Try controlling it not to get aching. Can you? Tell it not to get aching and sit still. Soon, you'll see the truth that when you sit still, suffering comes right after. Most people who have no mindfulness and wisdom won't observe this. When their body aches, it moves to change its position. The ache is now gone. Body positions hide the body's suffering. It's deceptive. In fact, the body shows the three characteristics of existence. It shows suffering all the time, but we change the body's positions and hide away suffering. We're so used to this. When we sit for a long time and feel aching, we stand up and move around without realizing why we do so. The truth is, we move to avoid suffering from the body. Be mindful of the body this way. The body is not great. It suffers. If you stand for a long time without moving or changing positions, it will suffer. If you lie down for a long time without moving or changing positions, it soon suffers. Look at people living with paralysis and can only lie down. Some say that those who have high merits don't have to work and can just sit back or lie down. People living with paralysis do that too, asking if they suffer. Yes, they do. Lying down for a long time will cause the flesh to become rotten. Bedsore will be developed. As you can see, what is hiding the body's suffering is movement, changing position, and moving. We must be mindful, be aware of the body. You'll see that this body is being oppressed by suffering so that it will move. However, if you take sitting as an example, it might take some time to start feeling the ache. If you want to see it very clearly and faster than that, breathing would do. Keep breathing in and see if happiness or suffering arises. You can see in just one breath that suffering does. This body suffers from keeping breathing in. And we have to change. Like when we change position. So we breathe out. Happiness arises in the first breath. But if we keep breathing out, suffering comes back. See, at first breathing comes with happiness, but soon it is replaced by suffering. This is how the body shows us the truth in detail. From breathing alone, initially breathing brings happiness, then indifference, and at last suffering. The body as a whole is the same. When we were born and started breathing for the first time, it felt happy. But as we kept breathing, suffering arose. As time passes by, this body keeps getting more and more suffering. We breathe in, suffer. Then we breathe out to escape suffering. We breathe out and suffer again, so we breathe in to avoid suffering. When we sit for a period of time, suffering arises. We stand up, take a walk, lie down or so to escape suffering. The truth is, this body suffers all the time, in every single breath. Those without mindfulness and wisdom can never see this, nor do they know that this is tremendously valuable. They feel that this has nothing to compare with the happiness of going to a pub or bar, so why seeing suffering? If you don't learn about yourself, one day when the body is not any longer in control, you'll be in distress. You'll feel sad, sorry, worried, and then die in sorrow. The next destination will then be a suffering birth. Similarly, our body does change all the time. It lives with us until it gets old and can't last, so it dies and we move to a new body. At first, the new body feels fresh, but eventually it will get old, suffer, and die, only to find a new body and feel happy again. It is similar to breathing. When we first breathe, we feel happy. As we keep breathing, it starts to suffer, so we change how we breathe. We breathe in and suffer. Then we breathe out and feel happy. But that doesn't last long. As we keep breathing out, suffering comes back and we need to change. Likewise, as this body turns old and dies, we move to another body to feel refreshed and happy again. This is how we keep getting lost in this transmigration cycle endlessly. Let's try to observe and don't be fooled. Be mindful. Know that this body is suffering. Keep observing it every day. Don't be fooled. It is not us or ours. We borrow it from the world and have to take care of it. If we are smart enough, we can utilize it. Let's say we rent a rice field. We grow rice and reap benefits from it. Just like this body, we borrow it from the world and have to return it one day, but we can take advantage of it while it is useful and active. We can do all the good deeds, especially practicing mindfulness. Don't just use this body to have fun at pubs, bars, brothels, or gambling. Use it to practice. We don't rent a rice field to build a golf club and play alone, just to face heavy debts later. But we can rent a rice field and also grow other vegetables. For example, to have an extra income. Likewise, we can use this body to cultivate things that bear fruitful outcomes, growing merits, good deeds, mindfulness, and wisdom. Make the most of the body before it dies. Try your best every day. At least do one good deed every day. Be determined that you'll accumulate good deeds by doing a good deed every single day. You can give a helping hand to people and animals. For example, consider what to do according to the occasion, appropriateness, capability. If you are a doctor, it'll be easy. You can treat patients selflessly. In this case, you can make the most of your body. It's a lot better than using the body to do evil deeds, which isn't beneficial to us or anyone. So at least do one good deed every day. If there's nothing to do, you can clean the pavement in front of your house and make people passing by happy. This is already great in itself. Train yourself daily. You also need to practice mindfulness every day, along with doing good deeds. If you don't have a chance to do good deeds, that's fine, but you have to practice mindfulness daily. Little by little, we already have a body. Instead of using it unwisely, use it to practice. Use it to breathe in put, breathe out to. Do this constantly. Utilize this body. Breathing in put, breathing out to. This is how I have practiced since I was a kid. I used the body to stay with the breath. With put to, I didn't play around, causing trouble. I was a thoughtful, observant, and naughty kid, but not a mischievous one. I didn't like fighting with others. I didn't like gambling, going to brothels, or playing around either. I felt bad about those things. I never liked drinking alcohol as well. When I was a college student, a senior forcefully made me drink it. I had no choice and I felt horrible. If I didn't drink, they would bully me. Anyway, I drank it mindfully. I utilized the body. Breathing in put, breathing out to. This is beneficial to ourselves in the present. And when we reach enlightenment, it will be beneficial for others in the future. So, let's utilize this body to do good deeds, such as sitting meditation or walking meditation. It's better off than struggling like a scalded dog or screaming at a concert. Oh well, if you can see what other people don't see, you'll know that creatures in hell scream and struggle just like that too. It's not fun seeing such things. It's rather pitiful. If we continue practicing, we can make use of what we have now. That is, we have the body and use it to do sitting or walking meditations. Know the body breathing. Know the body standing, walking, sitting, and lying down. Keep learning these things until it detaches itself from misconception. This body is neither us nor ours. As we see this clearly, when the body turns old, it feels that the body is the one which gets old. It feels that the body, not us, becomes sick. The body, not us, is dying. Keep observing, and we won't suffer, worry, or feel stressed out because of the body. You know, the more we love the body, the more we suffer. Try to train yourself. As for the mind, I have taught so much already. You can listen from YouTube or CDs. I saw that we are in an epidemic, so I decided to teach about the body. The mind can't catch a disease. The only disease the mind has is defilements, while the body can contract COVID. So practice and utilize it while it's available. Now let's move to Q&A session. Question 1. I pray in the morning. After that, I practice walking and sitting meditations for about an hour. During COVID, I have given days off at work, so I increased practicing time to a few hours. During the day, I try to be aware of the mind and body, but I keep losing awareness. The defilement that I can see clearly is anger, because I'm easily moody and worried. Sometimes the mind is bored and wants to be set free. May you please guide me. Boredom is another form of anger too. Your mind is not joyful when bored. Try observing the mind and see why we suffer. We suffer because of greed. We want this and that. When greed arises, suffering surely comes right after. Keep observing constantly. For example, we do sitting meditation so as to have a peaceful mind, then we suffer. If we do walking meditation and hope for enlightenment, then we suffer. Whenever greed arises, suffering also arises. Keep observing our mind like this. You have more time these days and don't have to work outside. So it's good that you use the body to do sitting or walking meditation. But when you practice and see that greed arises, then know it right away. That it wants to be good, happy, peaceful, or reach enlightenment. When we lose awareness, we can want something else. The mind can wander off for a long time because we forget our mind's home base. The mind is similar to the body in the sense that it needs a home. Therefore, we must have a home for the mind. It can be chanting Put To, breathing, body positions, movement, or being still. If the mind doesn't have a home, it will wander off. Wandering off means it moves constantly and endlessly. We shouldn't let the mind be homeless. Stay and know how to be with our home base. We are not with it to force ourselves to. For example, we don't focus on breathing and think of nothing else. That is not called a home base, but a prison. If we breathe and expect peacefulness, the mind will become anxious as if it were imprisoned. The mind will want to escape from breathing. It doesn't want to observe anymore, but go somewhere else. That's why we need to make our home a sweet home. Choose a home base that suits us and make us feel comfortable. Then the mind won't wander off somewhere else and concentration can easily arise. You can choose Put To, breathing, or movement of the body as your home base. Bring your attention to the body, for example, so that the mind is familiar with the home base and won't struggle to wander off. When the mind gains enough concentration, we then move on to cultivating wisdom. We can see that the walking body is not us, but an object being observed. The sitting body is not us, but an object being observed. Gradually observe and develop wisdom like this, and see how the mind works. When greed arises, the mind forms attachment to it. When the mind is attached, it suffers. We'll see this very same thing on and on. By practicing, we can understand our body and mind. Keep practicing every day. Your practice is getting better. Keep doing it.
Question 2.
I listen to your live broadcast every week. I use breathing for my formal meditation. Sometimes I happen to see the body breathing by itself. I notice that suffering has become shorter than ever, and I am more comfortable with practicing. However, when I am working with people or making contact with the outside world, the mind often keeps mingling with phenomena. Can you please give me some guidance so that I can improve my practice? Just do what you're doing. When you are at work and interact with others, the mind naturally goes off to look at them, talk to them, and think. It's time to work, not to practice. Other times than working and sleeping should be the time to practice. Try to stay with the breath or chant Put To constantly and be aware whether the mind is peaceful or wandering off. We don't force the mind to stay with our home base. We instead perceive how our mind naturally works while we breathe along. When wisdom has grown, it will realize that the breathing body is not us. The mind that one time acts as the knower and another time the wanderer is also not us. Our self doesn't exist, and thus there is nowhere that suffering can stay. Suffering appears together with the body and mind. If the body is not us, who is the one that suffers? The body is. If the mind is not us, who is the one that suffers? The mind is, not us. Keep practicing. Your practice is fine. Keep doing it. One thing you should keep in mind is that you must not hold the mind so that it remains still. That's not good. Don't do it or you'll become exhausted.
It's like when you keep holding a cup like this and become exhausted.
You don't have to do that. Just put it down and know when a phenomenon arises. Do you know that you're still holding it? Now it's better than when you were holding it previously. If you maintain it this way, you can stay for an almost endless time. When you die, you'll become a Brahma divinity, like the statue in front of hotels. You will eat boiled eggs and young coconuts from offerings. Let the mind do what it does, and you'll see its truth. This mind is impermanent and non-self. If you maintain the status of mind, it will become stable. That's incorrect.
Question 3.
This is my first homework report. I practice walking meditation and watch the body's movement while the mind is the observer. When I practice sitting meditation, I chant Putto along with breathing. After sitting for quite a while, the legs have become really painful. I see the separation of three things: pain, body, and mind. Although I love my body, I don't feel happy watching it. My mind feels indifferent and unjoyful. When I watch the mind instead, it becomes awakened and delighted. When I watch the mind, I mainly see the non-self. Would you please give me advice so that I can improve my practice further? Those who have strong wisdom normally feel indifferent watching the body like that. Instead, it's exciting to watch the mind work variously. You can watch the mind, but don't forget samadhi. Otherwise, you won't be able to observe the mind correctly. The mind will be isolated outside the body. So don't abandon your home base. You can use breathing or chanting Putto, for example, and see the mind work. If you don't have a home base, and go watch the mind directly, soon the mind will be lost in isolation, in emptiness. Let's have a home base. While you are breathing or chanting Putto, if the mind wanders off, know that it does. If the mind is calm, know that it is. If the mind has escaped, know that it has. Otherwise, if the mind doesn't have a home, we wouldn't know when it has left. On the other hand, if the mind has a home base, when it has left the home base, we'll be able to know its movement. That's why it's essential to have a home base. If not, the Lord Buddha wouldn't have taught so. When preaching the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the first thing he taught was about the home base, such as observing body in body, or sensations in sensations. Thereby, the first thing is to have a home base. The next one is about perseverance with burning defilements, or atapi sampachano. That is knowing why we are doing what we are doing. Being aware of physical and mental phenomena, and detaching from covetousness and affliction towards the world. This world means form and formless segregates, body and mind. When we practice and satisfaction arises, know that it does. When dissatisfaction arises, know that it does. The mind will become unbiased on its own. In short, the principle is to have a home base so that we know easily when the mind has escaped. We have a home base to burn defilements, not to achieve happiness, peacefulness, or greatness. We have atapi, means we have the defilement burning tool. If we cling to happiness, we are not burning defilements, but satisfying them. Even if we are practicing sitting meditation, it could be to satisfy defilements, not atapi. Atapi means defilement burning tool, or practicing mindfulness. Don't practice by being a slave to defilements. Do practice to conquer defilements. If you practice and the mind clings to happiness, peacefulness, and comfortableness, there you are lost to defilements. We need to have clear comprehension, know what we should do now. Practicing samatha or vipassana, whichever way, mindfulness must be there. However, having mindfulness is not enough. The mind needs to be stable and equanimous. That mind will be unbiased. Now when we practice, we observe again and again where we make a mistake. If you don't have a home base, then find one for the mind to stay. Not to be imprisoned. We don't force the mind to stay here all the time, but to know quickly when it leaves the home. We also don't force the mind to be good, happy, or peaceful. We practice to know the truth of the mind, to eradicate defilements, to cultivate wisdom, which is correct, knowing and understanding that the mind is not us or ours. Don't abandon samadhi. Remember that the mind needs a home base. If you ignore it and try to develop wisdom only, the mind will be scattered. Question 4. I observe the change of form and formless phenomena. I feel that the mind can enter the concentration state by itself, and that I am aware of the phenomena during that time. However, when I quit meditation, discomfort arises. I notice that the mind that I thought was the knower is actually the wandering, overly focused, or dull minds. When I am aware of this, the mind has become more stable. May I ask you whether I understand correctly that the mind has entered the concentration state? If mindfulness wasn't there, then it would be a misconception. It entered concentration, but delusion came across and dullness occurred. Get out of there. That was incorrect. It was a delusion and wrong concentration. Breathe happily. Exhale. Keep it lively and awake like this. Now you are sending the mind inside. Simply know that it did. We know it naturally, not by forcing the mind to go or stay somewhere. Be conscious. Breathe along while being conscious of the phenomena. The point is to be conscious. The mind will go into deep concentration on its own. You don't have to make this happen, otherwise delusion will arise instead. Defilements are not inside, but outside. Keep knowing like this. If discomfort arises, then know that it does. The reason why it's uncomfortable is because you don't let it know naturally. If you know naturally, it will be light, weightless, extremely thin, and completely silent. Extremely thin means there's no distance. But if it stays and has distance, then a state of becoming has appeared. Now you are intentionally forcing the mind. You are aware of that, right? Observe like this, and you won't waste time the same way you intentionally put up your mind and bring about dullness. Stay outside like this and be mindful.
Question 5.
I practice by watching the mind in daily life. I do walking meditation and watch breathing for my formal meditation. Sometimes I use mindfulness of death. The defilement that I see often is self. Would you please suggest any additional practice that suits my temperament so that I can improve further? When the mind escapes, know that it does. When the mind moves, know that it does. When we practice, we don't intentionally lift the mind up like that. It's too much. Let it be itself naturally. If you keep lifting it up, you'll become exhausted. Let it be how it is. Breathe and be mindful ordinarily. Then we watch the aggregates being separated objects. When the aggregates are separated, the mind will be in a natural and ordinary state, being the knower. Now the knower has gone, the thinker has arisen. We know that the knower can arise and cease, replaced by the thinker. Like now, the thinker has arisen. When we know that the mind thinks, the thinker then ceases, replaced by the knower. The knower and other minds will keep alternating this way. We have the knower so that we can see that the mind arises and ceases. If the knower doesn't exist, but the wanderer, we won't see the mind arise and cease. We don't intentionally put the knower up still because we won't notice the knower's rise and fall. Instead, we would feel that the knower is permanent, happy, and controllable. You see that the knower has gone now? It has been replaced by the thinker. Keep observing. You must practice formal meditation every day, either sitting meditation, walking meditation, or so. The mind will become stronger. When the mind has gained strength, don't intentionally put the mind up like that. Let it be as is naturally. Your mind is still not letting go. If you were nearby, I would hit you so that you would stop doing that. Here is good. Do you feel it? It's light and comfortable. More comfortable than when you put the mind up. Here the mind will change quickly. Sometimes it is the knower, another time the thinker or so. It spins speedily. The mind will then wander off. That's why we can't abandon concentration and samatha. If you did, you wouldn't be able to watch the mind. Now you went back there again. You see that? It is lifting up like this, which is its habit. Keep observing.
Question 6.
You used to say that sometimes the mind is like a rebel horse. I have seen the mind fabricate, causing suffering. However, the mind is biased and can't be prevented. I practice formal meditation every day. I practice meditation but can't achieve the correct concentration yet. Most of the time, it overfocuses and wanders off. I use breathing in put, breathing out to as the home base. Still, the mind goes off for a long time. May you please give me some advice? If you care enough and are eager to practice, it won't go off that long. Teach yourself often that life is unstable and we can't be careless. Keep teaching yourself like this so that you'll become careful and won't wander off too long. What you are practicing is good and has greatly developed. Keep telling yourself that life is unstable and the mind won't go off too long.
Question 7. I have practiced formal meditation since the end of last year by praying in the morning for 30 minutes and practicing walking meditation for 40 minutes. Recently, I have added sitting meditation in the morning and before bed, 40 minutes each. I use breathing as my home base. During the day, I can be mindful a bit during the break. I can see my defilements such as arrogance and anger. Would you please advise how I should practice further? You are practicing correctly and quite well. You also don't force the knower to stay still, which is good. It's like fruits. You have to wait until they are ripe. As you are practicing correctly, you should keep on doing so without ignorance. One day, when maturity is reached, you'll reap the outcome. Good. Keep on practicing. There's nothing you need to fix. Just practice as much as you can. Question 8. I practice formal meditation every day. During the day, sometimes I am conscious, sometimes not. I use breathing and Buddho as my home base. I think I'm not used to observing the body. I keep observing the mind every day, but lost in thought more than knowing. Meanwhile, I know that I have so much greed, anger, and arrogance. I'm not sure if I'm on the right track. Can you please give me homework and suggest a home base that suits my temperament?
If you can really see defilements, then you are on the right track. If not, you won't be able to see them. It's good that you can see even arrogance, which is strong in your case. We don't see these to make it disappear, but to realize that we can't control the mind so as to not to have arrogance. We can't control the mind so as not to have anger or greed either. The mind is not truly us. We can't control it. We practice to realize these things, not to achieve happiness, peacefulness, or greatness. We aim to see the truth that the mind is impermanent, changing all the time, not under control, and thus not us. You can repeatedly observe it like this. Alright, that's all. When I closed my eyes, I wasn't doing any miracles. I was tired, so I just sat back, closing my eyes and practicing meditation so that I can rest. We can end Zoom now.